I was 23 when my girlfriend of 6 years broke up with me. It hit me harder than I expected. My work slipped. I barely ate. Most days felt like walking through fog. But after 6 months, things finally started to settle. I could think again, focus again, even laugh sometimes. Then her mom called me. She was crying so hard her voice shook. "It's my fault," she kept repeating. "Please, she needs you. She's not okay anymore." Her tone wasn't normal. It sounded like fear, real fear. Every part of me said, "Don't go back. Don't reopen that wound." But I couldn't ignore her, so I drove to their house. The sky was already dim when I pulled into the driveway. Their house used to feel warm. Lights on, music playing, someone always moving around. Now it looked empty. Still, like it had been abandoned for months. The front door was closed, but the blinds were slightly open, just enough to show a dark interior. No movement, no light. As I walked toward the door, the air felt heavier. Not colder, just heavier, like the atmosphere had weight. Her mom opened the door before I knocked. Her eyes were red and swollen, her hair messy. She looked like she hadn't slept in days. "Thank you for coming," she whispered. Her voice cracked on the last word. When I stepped inside, the floor made a long creaking sound, like the house was reacting to me, or noticing me. The air smelled stale, like the windows hadn't been opened in a long time. "She's upstairs," her mom said softly. The staircase felt strangely long, dim hallway light, dust floating in the air. Every step made the same slow creaking noise. Halfway up, I realized the house was completely silent. No TV, no wind outside, no cars, just silence. It wasn't peaceful silence. It felt like the house was holding its breath. Her mom spoke again, almost afraid of her own words. "She keeps saying she isn't alone in her room, that something stays with her at night." I stopped for a moment, not because I believed her, but because the way she said something didn't sound like a metaphor. Her bedroom door was slightly open, just enough to see darkness inside. The moment I stepped close, I felt a small change in the temperature, a faint cold sweep against my arms. Inside, she was sitting on the floor, knees pulled tight to her chest, staring straight into a corner of the room. Her hair hung over her face. Her breathing was fast but quiet. There was no lamp on, no TV glow, only a faint hallway light spilling in, making long shadows stretch across the carpet. "Hey," I said gently. She didn't move. I took one more step, and then she slowly turned her head toward me. Her movements were slow and stiff, like she wasn't sure how to control her body. Her eyes met mine, but the expression behind them didn't look like the girl I knew. "Ash," she whispered. Her voice had this strange echo, not supernatural, just weak. Like she hadn't used it in a long time. She kept staring at me with this kind of empty look, tears building in her eyes, but no emotion on her face. "You left," she said quietly, and it came back. My heart dropped. "Came back?" I asked. She turned her gaze toward the corner again. "The thing that stands there." I looked. Nothing was there, visually. But something about the corner felt wrong. The darkness looked thicker, still, like it swallowed the light instead of reflecting it. I've always been sensitive to atmosphere, meditation, awareness, whatever. I don't believe in ghosts, but I do believe that sometimes your brain picks up things before you consciously notice them. And that corner felt like a place my brain didn't want to think too hard about. She crawled toward me on her knees and grabbed my wrist with both hands. Her hands were ice cold. "You have to stay," she said. Her voice broke. "It doesn't come near me when you're here. It hates you." "Hates me?" I whispered. She nodded. "Because you see through things." I froze. I never told anyone about the odd moments I had during deep meditation, those flashes of feeling like something was near, or noticing details other people missed. I didn't think of it as anything special, just awareness. But right now, it didn't feel like enough. My mind wasn't strong, not the way it used to be. And whatever was happening in this house, I wasn't sure I could handle it. Her mom stepped back toward the hallway, almost scared to enter the room fully. "Please," she said softly, "just help her." She was still holding my wrist, and the longer she held it, the more I realized something. She wasn't shaking out of fear. She was shaking like someone who had been terrified for so long that her body didn't know how to stop. I knelt down beside her. "Hey, look at me," I said softly. She lifted her eyes, and that's when I noticed something that made my stomach twist. Her pupils kept adjusting, like her eyes were trying to focus on something moving behind me. Something I couldn't see. I swallowed hard. "What exactly comes here at night?" I asked. Her lip trembled. "It stands in the corner. Sometimes it moves closer, sometimes it whispers." She paused, voice cracking. "It says things about you." The room felt colder instantly. Not in a spooky way. More like someone had opened a freezer door behind me. "What does it say?" I whispered. She looked down. "That you were supposed to stay? That you kept it away? That now it wants me alone?" Her mom let out a quiet sob behind us. I stood up slowly and faced the corner. Nothing was there, but the longer I stared, the darker it looked. Almost like shadows were bending inward. My brain felt tight, like pressure building behind my eyes. Like something was trying to crawl into my thoughts. I backed away without meaning to. I reached out and placed my hand on her shoulder, the same way I used to when she was anxious. The reaction was immediate. Her breathing softened, her shoulders dropped, her face relaxed for the first time since I walked in. But something else happened too. The darkness in the corner shifted. Not visibly. I didn't see anything move. I felt it. A small, sharp jolt in the air, like static electricity snapping, like something stepping back. For a moment, the room felt lighter. Then her grip tightened again. "Don't leave," she said firmly, not pleading this time, but like a command. "You can't leave me in this house." Her mom stepped forward, eyes wide. "You saw that, didn't you?" she whispered. The temperature changed. I didn't answer because I didn't know what I had actually felt. My logical brain said stress, suggestion, fear. But my body, my senses, disagreed. I had trained for years to be aware of tiny emotional shifts, breathing patterns, eye movements, atmosphere. But this wasn't emotional awareness. This felt like walking into a room where someone else is already breathing behind the door, and my mind, fragile from months of heartbreak, was wide open. I decided to take her out of the room. She didn't walk. She leaned on me heavily, as if she hadn't stood in days. Her steps were slow, uneven. Her mom followed close behind, watching the hallway like she expected something to crawl out of the shadows. We made it downstairs. The living room was dim, lit by a single lamp in the corner. Every object in the room, the couch, the coffee table, the framed pictures, felt strange, like they belonged to a house that wasn't lived in anymore. She sat beside me on the couch, gripping my hand, her breathing shallow but steady. Her mom sat across from us, twisting her fingers nervously. "We didn't tell you everything," she said in a low voice. "After you left, she started having episodes. Not emotional ones, physical. Night terrors, sleepwalking, conversations with no one." She swallowed hard, and the noises started again. "What noises?" I asked. Her mom looked toward the ceiling. Footsteps, scraping sounds, doors opening by themselves. My heart beat faster. "And you think it's connected to me?" Her voice was small. "When you were with her, none of this happened. The house was quiet. She slept, she ate, she was normal." She paused, but after the breakup, it was like something came back into the house, something we thought was gone. The lights flickered, only for a second, but long enough for all three of us to see it. She squeezed my hand so tightly it hurt. A soft noise came from upstairs. Not loud, not dramatic, just wrong. A slow, dragging sound, like a foot sliding across carpet. All of us froze. The house went completely silent again. Then another sound, a faint creak. The sound of weight shifting on floorboards. But the floorboards upstairs only creak when someone is walking. I felt my chest tighten, my breathing slowed. The room felt darker. Her mom whispered, "It's been doing that every night." My ex buried her face into my arm. "It doesn't stop when I'm alone," she whispered. "It only stops when you're here." I knew I should have been the rational one, the calm one, the adult. But as I sat there, listening to the slow creaks above us, staring at the dark hallway that led back to her room, I realized something I didn't want to admit. A part of me could feel it too. Not see, not hear. Feel. Like someone was standing upstairs, watching the living room, waiting for me to go back to that room. waiting for me to leave her alone again. My senses kept sharpening on their own, like instincts kicking in. But they didn't make me feel stronger. They made me feel exposed, wide open. Like whatever was in that house could walk straight into my mind if it wanted to. My ex looked up at me, eyes trembling. "Don't leave me tonight," she whispered. "Please." The noise upstairs creaked again, this time closer. The noise upstairs kept moving, slow, steady creaks, one after another. But this time something about the rhythm felt familiar. Not footsteps, weight shifting, like someone pacing. Her mom swallowed hard and finally spoke the words she had been avoiding all night. It started with her father. I turned toward her. "What do you mean?" She looked terrified to even talk about it. "You knew he struggled with his mental health, but there were other things too. Things I didn't tell anyone." The footsteps stopped. Right above us, directly overhead. Her mom leaned forward. "He used to try unusual methods to deal with his grief. He said they helped him open his mind, but they didn't help him. They made everything worse." "What kind of methods?" I asked. She hesitated, then whispered, "He tried to talk to things that weren't there." A cold wave hit the room. She continued, "He believed there was a presence in the house, something he had to learn from, something that could guide him. He spent hours alone in the dark, whispering, sitting in that room, staring at that same corner." My entire body went tense. Her father used to sit in the same spot my ex was staring into every night. "He said it watched him," her mom added quietly, "and one night he said it spoke back." The room felt smaller. "He changed after that," she said. "He became paranoid, angry, like he wasn't fully himself anymore, and then he died." My ex gripped my arm harder. "When he passed," her mom whispered, "the house went quiet, for months, almost like whatever was here left with him." The creaking upstairs resumed, but faster now, pacing, agitated. She looked at me with trembling eyes, but after the breakup, it came back. My ex suddenly sat up straight, like something jerked her upright. "It didn't leave," she said softly. "It waited." Her voice was flat, emotionless. Her eyes weren't looking at me or anyone. They were fixed on the hallway behind me. "My dad wasn't talking to nothing," she said coldly. "It was real." Her breathing sharpened, and it's angry. The air pressure in the room changed, a deep, heavy drop, like the whole house took a breath and held it. Then, bang, a loud slam echoed from upstairs. We all jumped. "What was that?" I whispered. Her mom covered her mouth. "That's his old bedroom." My ex spoke without looking away from the hall. "He's not in the room anymore." My heartbeat thudded in my ears. "He's moving." Another creak, this time not from upstairs, but from the staircase. Slow, heavy, a single step descending. Her mom froze, eyes wide with terror. I stood up without meaning to, staring at the dark stairwell. Another step, another creak. Something was coming down, not fast, not violent, just steady, like a man who knew the house perfectly. My ex stood up behind me. "When you left," she whispered, "it came back to me. It wants someone weak, someone grieving, someone it can break." Her voice cracked. "It fed on my dad. Now it wants me." The steps grew louder. My chest tightened. My vision blurred for a second, a dizzy wave, like pressure pushing against my thoughts. My ex squeezed my shoulder. "You feel it too, don't you? Your mind is too open right now. You're letting it in." I didn't want to admit it, but she was right. Heartbreak had hollowed me out, made space in me, and whatever was on those stairs was trying to fill that space. The creaking stopped. Halfway down the stairs, silence, not peaceful, charged. Like the air was waiting for one of us to move. Her mom whispered shakily, "You shouldn't have come back." My ex stepped beside me, her voice trembling. "It followed my father because he kept inviting it in. He believed it had answers for him. He believed it made him stronger." She looked at me. "And you were the first person it couldn't reach." My stomach dropped. "That's why it hates you." Then, for the first time, she said something that felt final. Something that explained everything. "You didn't just calm me when we dated. You kept it out of the house." The stairwell groaned. I felt a coldness crawl along the floor toward us. Unseen but real, like the temperature was sliding down a few degrees every second. Her mom backed into a corner. My ex grabbed my arm again. "It's not my father," she whispered. "It's what took him." A slow, dragging sound came from the staircase, like a hand sliding down the wooden banister, but no hand was visible. My ex's voice dropped to a whisper. "It wants me, but now it knows you're here." I stared into the darkness of the stairwell. For a split second, I saw something move. Not a shape, not a person. More like the darkness itself shifted, bending inward, folding over itself like a shadow standing up. My breath caught in my throat, and then it took another step. The shadow on the stairs moved again. Not like a person walking, it shifted, like the darkness itself leaned forward. My ex pulled me back. "That's not him," she said. "It used my father. It's trying to use me." The thing took another step. This time the lights in the living room flickered hard. A fast pulse, on, off, like the house was glitching. Her mom backed into the wall. "We have to get out," she cried. But my ex didn't move. "It won't let us leave," she whispered. "Not yet, it wants him." She pointed at me. My chest tightened instantly. The air felt like it was pressing inward, squeezing my lungs. A low ringing started in my ears, not loud, just deep, like something humming inside my skull. My ex grabbed my face with both hands. "Listen to me. My father opened himself to it. You can feel it because you're open too." "I'm not open," I managed to say, breath shaking. "You are," she insisted. "Breakup broke you. It wants people with cracks." Another step. The shadow now reached halfway down the stairs, blending with the darkness so smoothly it looked painted onto the air. Her mom screamed, "Stop looking at it." But I couldn't, because the ringing got louder, and suddenly, I heard a voice, not in the room, inside my head, a low whisper. "You were always supposed to take his place." My knees nearly buckled. My ex saw my reaction and shook me hard. "Don't listen to it." I tore my gaze away from the stairs and forced myself to breathe. She turned toward the hallway. Dad tried to talk to it. He begged it for answers, for guidance, for strength. It twisted him. It broke him. She looked back at me. "And now it wants you." The shadow moved again. This time fast, sliding down 2 steps at once, like a heartbeat skipping. The lights snapped off completely. The entire house dropped into blackness. Her mom screamed. My ex grabbed my arm. "Run!" We bolted toward the front door. But halfway across the living room, something slammed it shut, hard enough to rattle the walls. I grabbed the handle and pulled with everything I had. Nothing. It wouldn't budge. Behind us, the sound of something dragging across the stairs grew louder. Not footsteps, but a heavy weight sliding downward. My ex yanked me away from the door. Back, the kitchen window. We sprinted into the kitchen. The moment she reached for the window latch, all the cabinets burst open at once. A booming crash of doors slamming against walls, dishes clattering, silverware exploding out like shrapnel. Her mom screamed again from the living room. She was frozen, shaking uncontrollably. I tried the window. It didn't move. "It's locking the house?" I said, breath shaking. My ex was pale, eyes wide. "It's doing what it did to my dad the night he..." Her words cut off as a deep thud echoed through the entire house. A heavy footstep. Not upstairs, not on the stairs, inside the kitchen. I spun around, and for the first time I saw it clearly. A tall figure made entirely of shadow, as dark as an empty doorway at midnight. No face, no shape, just a human-like silhouette made of darkness thicker than the room around it. It didn't walk, it drifted. Slow, smooth, straight toward us. My ex stepped in front of me. "Stop." The shadow paused for half a second, then leaned forward, stretching unnaturally like gravity didn't apply to it. A low groan filled the room. Not from its mouth, but from the walls, like the whole house was hurting. Her mom collapsed to her knees. The thing extended toward me. My mind went blank. Empty. The ringing became painful. My ex grabbed my shoulders and screamed, "It wants a host! Don't let it in." I tried to pull my thoughts together, but the thing was already inches away. I felt cold pressure wrap around my head, not touching me, but pushing into my mind, searching for a way inside. My ex slammed both hands onto my face and shouted, "Focus on me. Look at me." I forced myself to meet her eyes. Just that one action, looking at her, made the pressure weaken for a moment. But the thing lunged again. This time fast. Her mom screamed. My ex screamed. I braced myself, And then everything stopped. Dead silence. The shadow froze mid-movement, like someone hit pause. Then it started shaking, violently, like static flickering in the air. My ex gasped. "The house lights! Turn them on!" I snapped toward the switch panel by the sink. I slammed the main switch up. The lights exploded back on. The shadow ripped backward as if yanked by an invisible force, warping into the air like smoke being vacuumed. It shot up the stairs in a single violent movement and vanished into her old bedroom. Silence returned, heavy, broken, still. We didn't speak for a full minute. Then my ex whispered, "That was what took my father." I looked at her, adrenaline still shaking through me, and now it wants me. We stood there in the kitchen, the lights buzzing overhead, every cabinet still open, glass shattered everywhere, and none of us moved. My heart was pounding so hard it felt like it might force the thing back down the stairs. My ex finally spoke. "We can't stay in this house another second." I nodded. Her mom nodded. But before we could make a move, the house breathed. Every light flickered once. The air pulled inward like a deep inhale. The floors creaked all at once, not from weight, but from pressure. "It's coming back," she whispered. I grabbed both of them and pulled them toward the front door. I didn't care if it was locked. We were getting out. I threw myself at the door with my shoulder. Once, twice, crack. The wood splintered. One more hit, smash. The door burst open and all three of us stumbled onto the porch, gasping for air. The moment we crossed the threshold, the pressure in my head vanished. The ringing stopped. The cold left my skin. I felt free. We ran to the car. Her mom dove into the back seat. My ex jumped in beside me. I fumbled the keys into the ignition. As soon as the engine started, I slammed the accelerator. We didn't speak. None of us even looked back. Not until we reached the end of the street. Something made me glance at the rearview mirror. The house was sitting there, dark and still. But one window, her father's old bedroom window, was glowing faintly. Not bright, just a soft, dim light. And in that light, I saw a shape. Tall, still, standing in the same corner my ex used to stare at, watching us leave. The glow flickered once, and then went out completely. Everything inside the house fell dark. I turned away. My ex and her mom moved out the next day. They didn't take anything except clothes and a few pictures. No furniture, no keepsakes, nothing from her father. They never stepped inside again. The house was put up for sale, and for months afterward, every time I drove past it, the new owners kept the upstairs curtains closed. Every day, day and night, like they didn't want anyone to see what was in that room. I haven't spoken to my ex in years and years. We're not close now. We don't check in. But sometimes when I'm lying in bed at night with my eyes closed, right before sleep, I hear a faint ringing in the back of my mind. Very soft, very distant, like a whisper trying to find its way back. And on those nights I remind myself of one thing. I escaped that house. But it saw me. And things like that, they don't forget faces.